what, 7:38? Is that 6 or 8? I'm short-sighted. But we're glad you're watching Morning Express. Public image, self-image, what people think about you. We talked about that with Derek Banga the other day. But today's special focus on social media. What you're posting, your entire life, whatever it is you're putting out there, how important that is, and why you need to check it, because it does mirror on you. It does tell a story. It does indicate what people know. And later on, 10, 15, 20 years later, will you still stand and smile if something that you put 20 years ago comes up? Joy Chelagat, who's head of social media here at the Standard Group, joins me in studio. Thank you, lovely.
Thank you, dear.
So that image on social media is big and has become an important point of discussion because of how Kenya is developing real fast, and the attention and the numbers we're seeing in social media as the days go by.
Actually, very accurate.
Yeah.
We're having so many Kenyans joining social media. And if you actually check on Alexa,
Yeah.
the top ranked sites are actually social media sites. After Google, it's just social media sites. So that actually tells you that a lot of people are actually meeting people for the first time on social media, or checking you up after they meet you on social media.
Yeah, I know. I do. Sometimes you guys are like, oh, okay. And especially if you don't get the second name, you're always like, I wish I got the second name so that I can check. But let's begin there, because when you go on social media and names, some people will use their names. Like I use my name, Sophia Wanula. That's my Twitter handle. But then you will find somebody at Leaves. I don't know, I like to use that. At Leaves or at Skies or at something. It's not their name.
Yes.
That take us to not having your real name vis-a-vis having your name.
Well, I'll give you a very good example. One of my lecturers was telling us how he told someone, send me a CV because I want to forward it to someone, and the email they used was misshotbabes@gmail.com. And yes, so you can imagine your potential interviewer, and the person you're looking at is at misshotbabes@gmail.com.
Yeah.
I mean, that raises a lot of eyebrows. So that's one of the things you have to really think about, your name and what it portrays.
Yeah.
If you're thinking about becoming a public image, and if you have nothing wrong with your name, use a name that people know of you. For example, I may be Joy Chelagat to you, but I may be Mimo to my parents, and maybe, so use a name that most people would know, because people are looking for connections online. So if I go search for you because I know you're Sophia Wanuna, ideally I should be able to get you as Sophia Wanuna. But people also use their names to kind of portray aspirational qualities. I know people who call themselves blessings galore Wanuna.
Yes. Yes.
Or breakthrough someone. And these are all things that you see because people want to kind of express who they want to be in the future, or what their aspirational qualities are. Yes,
but the royal voice. Anyway, yes, but that sometimes one would say, there's another Sophia Wanuna out there. I don't only the relatives of mine that are called Sophia Wanuna. But once the name, it's already taken. So what do you do in such a kind of a situation?
Well, you could do, I'll give an example of what Ben Kitili has done. You could do Ben_Kitili. Yes, or you could have your initial in it or something like that. Or what Jeff Koinange has done, his is Koinange Jeff, not Jeff Koinange.
Exactly.
So you could play around with the alignment of the names. You can put an underscore in it. So that's one of the ways you could do it.
But the best bet is to stick to your name, not one of those cuckoo descriptions. As much as, yes, they sound inspirational, at blessings.com is quite something else. So from the names comes the pictures, the profile picture. And we now have the cover picture. For even Facebook has cover picture, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah, and Twitter as well. So take us through the two and what we should be putting up.
All right. So I'll start with Facebook. Most people usually, when you search for someone's name on Facebook, if I search for Sophia, all the Sophias will pop up, but the thing I look at is your image.
Right.
So the first thing you should always do when you're having, when you're putting up a profile picture, look for a face. You know, we look for a face. We know you by your face, ideally. So get a nice, clear close-up. People love people who smile, so just smile. You don't have to be those fake, all your teeth out. But yes, have a nice, clean, clear profile photo of yourself. Because sometimes what you end up finding is people have profile photos of their cars. Yes.
Or of celebrities, of other people.
Yes. And then you wonder why. One of my friends would say, if you have a photo of someone else or something else on your profile, then you probably have a problem with the way you look.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, I mean, ideally, have a nice close-up of yourself.
Right.
Because the other problem is people tend to have a very big photo and then they're very tiny little faces. So even when you're trying to look at the photo and you're trying to find them, you have to really squint because they have this huge photo.
Yeah.
And then their face is really small. So look for a nice close-up.
A nice close-up.
Yes. Now, for those other things that, the settings that you have tell a story. For example, when I look at the setting here, the books, I know it's more lifestyle, the colors. You go to a hard news set, the blues, all those tell a certain color. So tell a certain story. Yes. So what you need to do is your profile photo now is you, but your cover photo tells a little bit about yourself. Yes.
Okay.
So if you are a news anchor, you might want to have a photo of you like in the studio.
Do you know what my cover photo is? Maybe I need to change it on Twitter. It's of a lion.
A lion? Well, maybe it's aspirational. You want to be top of the top of the food chain. But yes. So if you're into fashion, if you're into scenery, I know you love photos. Yeah. So maybe one of your best holiday destinations.
Yes.
Yeah, one of those. Because that now tells us a little bit more about yourself. It fills out what your profile picture is not able to tell us. Yes.
So it's kind of an indicator of you, your personality.
Yes.
You're getting an insight.
And if you want, you should take a very memorable photo. One person whose photo I absolutely love is Philip Ogola. Philip Ogola has a photo of him and his family. And you look at him and his wife, and it's such a loving photo. And when you look at it, it's like, oh, what a family man. And when you actually get to know the guy, you realize he is quite a family man. Okay. So that's one of the other things you need to look at. And then sometimes people use words. Have you seen the ones like, this is my year of breakthrough, 2014?
Yes, there will be these quotes, words, Bible verses as the cover.
Yes. Yeah. That's also acceptable because, it tells us about what you really believe in and what you're grounded in. Yeah. So generally try and avoid the run-of-the-mill cover photos, the one that everyone has. Yeah. And then I remember, I'll give an example. For our KTN pages, when we lost Madiba, we had a tribute to Madiba on our KTN Facebook page, on our standard Facebook page, and we saw that actually across board because it communicates that you're standing with the family in time of mourning. Right. So then that is quite acceptable. Right. One thing I usually tell people, it's good to kind of change up your cover photos every now and then.
After how long, by the way?
Well, it depends. There are those people who are shutterbugs, so they're always taking photos everywhere they go. So those ones tend to change them more often. But the thing is just to stick to what you really want to communicate about yourself. Okay. So if you don't want people to think you're shallow, don't just post all these, a collection of your selfies, and guys are going to think, okay.
Full of herself, this one. She's all about selfies all over the place.
Then the other thing now, when you go on Twitter, obviously you have the AVI, same concept with the profile photo. Yeah. Then you have, the background image, same concept. Oh, and now Twitter recently did a bigger and bolder profile. You've realized, right? Yeah, before it used to be really small, but now when you click on it, it's bigger and bolder.
When you click on it, yes.
It's bigger and bolder, so that means also you have to avoid pixelated photos. It looks really bad. Yeah, because it's like wearing a faded shirt. Avoid it. So
a good picture.
Yes, get a good quality picture. Most of our phones these days can take such photos. Yeah. And then on Twitter you have the background image. The one that's on. When you have your tweets at the center.
Right.
Yes. Right. Use that as well to communicate. For example, if you're a musician, you can actually have on the side, tell us what your Facebook page is. Have a Facebook icon there and have the link to your Facebook so that people can actually be able to interconnect from your G Plus account to that. So that's one of the things that you could also do. Yeah. Or you could also just do the same thing as your cover photo on Facebook. Use a big photo that kind of explains who you are and what you're about. Yeah. But on the background image, the biggest thing I tell people, do not make it cluttered. You can imagine you're trying to read words, and then there are all these photos with all these, all these big images, and it's too confusing. It's too much color screaming out. Yes. So that's one of the things that you should avoid.
So bottom line is that to know that this is important. It communicates when we see whatever it is, whether it's your profile picture, your AVI, the cover picture, or the background for Twitter, it's saying something.
Yes.
So we need to be deliberate with what we're putting in there, not to just, that hot guy. Imagine having a shirtless man. Yeah, that would be quite something. To the tweets, to what we're posting. They post on Facebook. And you know what I find that some people get misled with or by is, what are you thinking? Is usually the question in the posting, space. So you actually, some will go literally and say what they're thinking. I'm thinking that guy for cheating on me is so crazy, or I'm thinking my mom, and they actually really say, but we need to be careful about what we're saying.
Yes, I think if we had a broadcast from our head, I think most of us would not have friends.
Yes.
And probably even be in jail because we're like, I want to kill you. You just made me so mad. So ideally, yes, choose your tweets with care, because we're seeing that people tend to grow. I mean, one of the photos that we're going to show later are how people were in the, throwbacks from years back. You tend to grow. You may be right now, some student in campus and you're talking all this nonsense. But a few years later, you'll be sitting on such a couch and you're presenting a show.
Right.
Or you could actually be the face of a certain industry. I'll use an example. Giuliani, from being an underground musician, rapper, with Koflani. Now he's a brand ambassador for One, and he's doing a lot. So his tweets at the end of the day reflect, because then if I want to choose you as my brand ambassador, everything about you is what I'm selling.
Exactly.
So people need to think about that. Think about your tweets, what are they saying, and how are they depicting you.
Yeah, and want to look at some of those pictures. If you have them, you can put them up and just look at them days, those pictures and how, just as you said, is an indicator of with the time later on, and even what I was saying in the intro. Oh, there we go. So that is our Ahmed Darwesh and Lilian Muli.
Yes.
You'd never imagine that.
I know when this picture came out on Twitter and Facebook, we even had blogs writing about what money does to you. Okay, I know that's really mean of them to say that.
Yeah.
But yes, image is everything. It's very hard to
relate
parallel this photo
and the other one.
Yeah.
Let's get the other picture as well. We have another one which we'll have a look at. But yeah, time changes. I wonder which year this was. Quite a while back. Wow.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
That is Nonini and
Jokali. I know. Yeah, it speaks for itself.
Yes, it does.
Umetoka mbali.
That's a perfect caption for that.
Umetoka mbali,
Yes.
And there's one more.
Yes, there's actually one more.
Let's see the final picture and of course where you were then. It's always, I guess, we'll get the last picture. People will see, for example, a tweet that you put up, and you talked about that institutional memory that social media has.
Yes.
So unless you got off your way to deliberately delete everything, and somebody anyway could have captioned it and still keep it. So it's crucial.
I want to give you a perfect example. Yesterday, Twitter and Facebook was awash with the story about Facebook buying WhatsApp.
I know.
And then 4 or 5 years ago, one of the founders of WhatsApp had gone to Facebook, and Facebook turned him down. So he tweeted, "Just went to the Facebook guys and they turned me down. Oh well, greater things in the future." So when now Facebook bought his company that they didn't want to hire him, everyone was just, throwing back that and saying that, look, this guy was turned down by Facebook and Twitter, and now he's getting USD 19 billion.
19 billion.
Yes. Well, 16 and 3, but joint 19, yes.
Wow.
So yes, what you do, social media has an institutional memory, to use your words. So be very careful, because today we'll be talking really bad about KTN. Then 2-3 years later, you're coming for an interview here, and then someone does a throwback.
Yeah.
Oh, this new KTN person or this new musician who hated so much on the Pulse is now in the Pulse.
Is in the Pulse. It's true, because I remember one time somebody who said, anyway, it's about a TV station or like KTN. Oh, there's the final picture. What?
Yes.
That is Itumbi.
And then it's on Sarigo.
Oh my God, that does even.
I know.
And that is on Sarigo.
Someone actually did something really mean of Itumbi. He had 2 photos. Itumbi past and present, they were talking to each other, and they had caption, "Is this you? Yes, this is what you're going to be in the future." It was quite hilarious.
Dennis, I hope that is watching this. If he's not, I'm not sure. He hasn't seen this picture.
I'm sure he has.
Oh,
I'm sure
Dennis.
he has.
Oh my, Dennis totally looks like Itumbi. Looks like a totally different person.
Yes.
He's
Yes.
so skinny.
and this is why I keep telling people. I mean, this is not bad. It's kind of cool because you get to see them before they were who they are now. So it's funny, but I mean, at the end of the day, it gives you a caution, because all these crazy photos you're taking on top of tables with your friends on a Friday night could resurface someday. I mean, theirs is not so bad because it was, well, they were students probably.
I mean,
that's
for
fine.
them, it's in a positive way to show you that hard work and,
Yes.
doing all the things they've been able to do with their careers. Look at where they are now.
Yes.
So wametoka mbali is a caption for all those pictures, but which is really good. So what we are posting is important. There's something that I find many people will have as part of their brief information profile after their pictures. They'll talk about retweets and not an endorsement. How useful is that statement, if I may put it that way? Oh gosh, and there's another one.
Yes, that's it will be again, and on Sarigo.
Were they in school together?
I suppose so. I think so.
Where did you get this picture?
Well, that's what I do on social media. I'm able to unearth things, so beware.
Oh my god.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, this is so hilarious. And this is not a smear campaign. It will be or it's hilarious. Yes. So, retweets are not endorsements. When I see that, for me, I don't go like, oh yeah, you're so right. Yeah, whenever I see you retweet, I'll detach that. And most people don't read and go like, oh, let me check this retweet. Let me go and check if it's an endorsement, whether they've said this or the other. You don't do that usually.
It's like telling someone, don't judge me by the way I look. I mean, definitely I'll judge you by the way you look.
Exactly.
As I remember Banga said earlier this week that within the first few seconds, you've already made an assessment of someone. And actually, when you read theories of perception, they usually say that when you meet someone, you perceive them and you place them into a stereotype. So if I see you with blonde hair, blue eyes, and you're wearing these ridiculous heels, I'll think, what a Barbie, or, blonde girl. And I have all these connotations that the movies tell me about that. If I meet you as a news anchor, I have all these connotations, and I'm pretty sure people get shocked when you speak Swahili, right?
Yes, they do. Some. And
Some
I don't know why.
people.
Usually it's funny when you're live on air and speak Swahili, because usually I will speak very good Swahili, but when you're on air, it's anyway.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's because the image they have of you is this English news anchor, and this is the image they have of you. So you can't tell people, don't judge me by this, because definitely they are judging you.
It
by
reminds me
that.
of those people in church who come and they're like, sasa nataka kuimba wimbo, but listen to the words and the voice. And I'm like, okay, write them. Give us copies.
Yes,
Read
or
the
just
words.
read the words aloud.
Yeah.
Just recite them.
Because we will listen to the voice.
Yes, because let me tell you something. You cannot detach who you are and what you say.
Yeah.
You cannot. Why is it a scandal when a pastor says that he listens to Jay-Z? It's because you're endorsing Jay-Z. You're saying that you agree with him. So, I mean, you cannot say retweets are not endorsements. People like putting that there as, kind of like a disclaimer so they can retweet things. But at the end of the day, the bottom line is your image offline and online are more or less the same thing. You can't tell me, it's like, I'll give a very good example. Many of us when we meet, you had the radio ladies last time back.
Yes.
And many of us when we meet Zuleka, I remember how shocked you are in Zuleka just...
I know.
You were like, oh my God.
Yeah, like switched, and I'm like, okay.
Yes, because when we see that image of her, we are like, this is who she is.
Yes.
But it's very hard for us to detach the two. And it's the same reason why many of the guys on Sugar, when they met people in real life, people had these perceptions, oh my gosh, you're such a skank. But the real thing is that you're not really that. It was a role you were playing. So you can't really detach the two.
You cannot.
So
and still there are those who say, sorry to cut you short, but
No.
so you can link the same, my tweets are my views or something and not my employers. Is that important to put out there, or at the same time, is it the same kind of
employers, some employers require that you do that because different companies have different social media policies. Some employers require that you do that. But at the end of the day, one way or the other, whatever you tweet will reflect on your company, will reflect on your personality. So tweet or Facebook with care. Yes, that's the bottom line.
With care. So I found what some people will do now, instead of retweeting, because for me, when you retweet, it does reflect on you no matter what it is. So especially as a journalist, so say there's a newsmaker saying a certain thing, if you retweet, you don't want to seem like you're of that group. So they'll put like this dash, 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 and a narrow pointing to what this person is saying. I find that for me, that says, okay, you're just communicating. In case I don't follow this person, that's what they're saying.
Yes.
Because if you just retweet, then it's like, I'm supporting or, I agree with. Would that work?
That's what some people do. And actually is one of the things I'll give you, like for KTN sometimes when, I remember like during the Westgate time and when the police were saying things, we had to report what they were saying. But what is the disclaimer? We say that from the police, this is what we're hearing. We're not telling that the police has actually done X, Y, Z, or that. So we just say this is what the police is saying. So sometimes you just put the quotation marks, on the tweet, and then you tweet it, and someone knows. Okay, fine. The police has said this is a quotation mark, and then you put a police at the end. So that's one of the ways you can do it. But at the end of the day, you have to do it with care. Or you can say, for example, ODM yesterday made an announcement. So you could just write the announcement and then you say ODM says. Which at the end of the day, what you're basically doing is informing someone, but you're not retweeting them, saying that you believe in what they're saying.
About tweets, because once I remember there's a day I saw quite a number of tweets, and sometimes it's senior government officials or well-known person, and the other. Of course, people will once in a while, even me, someone will say something to me about whatever it is, and I just think I just don't want to start at tweet, so I'll ignore. Or if it's something I agree, maybe those are mistakes, someone will say noted. But tweets, how do we engage people who are coming at us on social media?
I think the main thing is that you just don't. Okay, it depends what it is. If someone actually is, we've had differences of opinion, you know, can have a debate on social media. That's allowed. It's good. I mean, it's a democratic space. You want to speak what you're thinking and all that. But I remember sometime I used to write about it because I'd see all these celebrities tweeting about things that really did make sense.
Yeah.
So I remember I once wrote about it in the paper, and I just said, you know, it's like two guys fighting in a bar. Of course, everyone will watch and cheer you guys on.
Yeah.
But after you're done, you are the ones who are dirty and scuffled, and you look really bad. Everyone else will continue with their drinks. So it's the same concept. If you guys want to tweet on social media, of course, we'll watch, we'll write, we'll be like, oh, you won't believe what these two are doing. But at the end of the day, we've actually lost our respect for you. So you have to do it with care.
With care. And we've become the selfie generation.
Oh.
Nowadays, we're even having segments on new shows. Maybe we should do that one for good measure, where people are coming to teach you how to take a selfie. So this is how I saw Kim Kardashian doing that on the show. I was like, wow. And I've seen quite a number of those. I like to take pictures. I love pictures. I love to see people's pictures. But I think sometimes it's just, there's a line and it can get overboard. And there's this journalist who does a lot of that. And recently even selfied himself after he's woken up in bed, bare-chested. Just woke up. I'm like, okay, it's too much.
Sadly, I saw those photos as well, and I was like, because I've seen this person interview the president. You see a person asking the president questions, and the next photo you see is this person in bed, you know? This is what I look
and
like.
always alcohol, like it's okay, drink, like do you, but you know,
it takes away from who we think you are.
Yeah.
It really takes away from that. One of the other examples I'll give, there's a journalist who works for another media house, and this person reads news. But when you actually check out their photos, they have all these ridiculous selfies, their tongue out, and all these ridiculous facial expressions. And then you're the person coming to talk to me about the state of the nation.
Yeah, and I'll just be saying, tongue stack out.
I'm thinking, all I'm thinking is, you really know what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Not because you can't have personality, but yes, you can have personality, but you have to understand you're an opinion leader. And image, again, is everything. Image is everything. Yes. Some people go to the extent of saying, dress how you want to be addressed. So post on social media what you want people to think about you. So that's the thing I'll say. Think about who you are, and we're not really hitting out on the person who was, he was dubbed the king of selfies.
He is. He does call himself. We are not. It's just that you get the feeling that it's a tad bit too.
Yes, it's a step over the line.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I usually encourage people. Yes, it's cool. Let us see who you are. Let's interact with you. It's always good to have a good laugh sometimes.
Yeah.
But do it with good measure.
With good measure. I think that is the thing, because when it goes then overboard, as you said, you don't know what is going to be in the next 5-10 years. And you don't know who's looking at this and what impressions. As much as it is you love to drink, you love to party, good. We're not judging, do that. But not enough can be said on that one. But as we bring this to a close, Joy, the image, we've touched about a few things, what you're posting, the pictures you have, the retweets, in terms of who you're following.
Yes.
And does that also say?
It does, partially because I'm sure sometimes you've looked at your friends' profiles and you realize the pages they like, and they're like, how did you like that page?
Yeah.
So yes, for people who are newsmakers or business industry leaders, you have to give the appearance of being neutral. I'm using the word appearance because you could like a certain political party more than the other,
of course,
or a certain mobile service provider more than the other. But for the sake of business and for the sake of appearance, you just like them both or follow them both. It's also good to just, be balanced out there.
Yeah.
You don't want to lock yourself out to opportunities because we've had people who companies have said we've blacklisted this person because they're always talking bad about our brand.
Yeah.
So even if you come there for an interview, man, there's nothing you're doing. You're talking to dead space because no one's really listening.
Yeah.
So yes, be very careful about what you like because people may actually, or who you follow, because people may actually think that you actually endorse them.
Yeah.
So what I usually tell people, be very careful, and if it's possible, try and go both sides.
Right.
Yeah, be on the board.
We've talked a lot about the individual, accounts, but corporates, organizations, that's major because many of them are now social media savvy. They're coming out there. They want to tweet. They want to spread the word. the stakes are different. The conversation
Yes.
there is a little bit different because this is everybody being represented.
Yes, it's very different. Someone was talking about how you should view a corporation as a person,
Yeah.
and that's how you build your brand image. So if you're conversational, if you are witty, if you are artistic, that's what you have to think about.
Yeah.
So if Eric Wanina starts a music company, it's going to be very different from Eric Wanina the person, right? If Sophie Wanina wants to start a news reading academy,
Right.
it's going to be very different from the person. So you really have to think about what are the values, what are the virtues, what are the attributes that you want your company to have,
Yes.
and that informs how you brand your social media page. It's a whole conversation, but it informs how you brand your social media page and even how you interact with people on those pages.
Yeah. Finally, do's and don'ts, social media image, because we need to work on it. We cannot sit there and imagine, I'm just going to be me. Just being me is reckless. It needs to be, as you said, very deliberate, whatever it is you're posting, what you're putting out there. What for you would you finalize this with the do's and the don'ts?
Well, the first thing that you must do is you must get on social media.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever told you this, but I actually got my job through social media. I saw.
Oh, really?
Yes, I didn't see an advert in the paper or anything.
Uh-huh.
I actually applied for my job from something I saw on social media. So do get on social media. A lot of companies are advertising jobs on social media. We saw the government cut its expenditure by 50% advertising on print and these other platforms, and they're now putting it on digital media.
Yeah.
So do get on social media, but also be, as you said, be very deliberate. Get good
Yes.
photos, get good updates, and make sure that the people you're connecting with are the right people on
Right.
social media. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Finally, yes, have a good time out there and and look for ridiculous photos like the ones we got today.
Like the ones we got. I know, because I love to share pictures on Instagram.
Yeah.
I'm just one of those really nice places. What is annoying is when some of these crazy people blogs take pictures and say you're at a different place than you were, which you clearly indicated and
Yeah.
captioned. I find that so extremely annoying, but that's on my personal beef. But get on social media. Thank you. Social media image, important, key, because it's about you getting people to think what you want them to think and not letting run amok, and then later on you're having and bearing regrets on the same.